This is the Alaska Conference Constituency Report. Get it on the trail. Good boy, Stormy. Good boy. Come on, Stormy, keep her on the trail.
As Alaska Conference President, I have the privilege of traveling throughout the conference and noticing all the great things that are happening in our conference. And I like the teamwork and the enthusiasm that I see, and I think you will too.
I'm Pastor Leon Ringering, and I'm here in Nome, Alaska. As you can see, we have our gold pan here. The city was incorporated in 1901. We're on the city square right in front of Old St. Joe's Church. Off on my left side, we have the Three Lucky Swedes. These fellows, way back in the early 1900s, came up and found gold, took out over $2 million worth. Well, we're looking for gold in Nome too. Comes a little slower, but we're looking to expand, that the Lord's work might be finished here and we might get a larger school to provide for our children in the community who want a Christian education.
I have a son, Grayson, who is 8, and he's been on a waiting list since September 2000.
They do need to expand this school. My son, Christopher Simpson, is on the waiting list for the Seventh-day Adventist private school. He's been on the waiting list for almost a year now, and I'm hoping to have him in by the 4th grade.
This is my daughter, Kara. She is one of the children that are on the waiting list at the Adventist school, and she's going to be in 2nd grade next year, and she has a great love for the Lord, and she loves Bible stories, and she's just starting to learn how to read the Bible all by herself. So this is Bethany. She's going to be a future Seventh-day Adventist student, hopefully.
I believe that since the Christianity has been pulled out of the public school system, a lot of the discipline has went with it. And I would like to see that put back into not only my son's life, but back into the public school system. But I know that is not going to happen, not anytime soon, or soon enough.
I've had the use of Seventh-day Adventist school with a foster child, and she did really good out there. Went to Belt School after she talked me into going back to the public school, which turned sour. And I really would enjoy my child to be enrolled in 7th day.
When the first dog goes underneath that arch every year, that is the winning team for the dog sled race. We're in a great race here in Nome. We are trying to finish the Lord's work, and one of the things that we're striving for right now is to bring in enough capital to help us build and expand our new school. We have an excellent school here, the largest actually of all the Seventh-day Adventist schools in the state of Alaska. We're a small community, but many people here want to provide Christian education for their children.
I need to get him into the Seventh-day Adventist, however, it's too small.
The smaller part is the original church, school, and fellowship hall. That little building, which is probably 20 by 30, served as the only thing we had in Nome, and that was a venture of faith. But that was built. Then 9 years ago, this additional building, which you see attached to it, we were able to, in faith, the people had saved up to $40,000, and they were able to bid that on that building, and the gold company that was going out of business chose our bid, even though other bids were higher, and we moved that in here. A volunteer crew helped us, and I was part of the volunteer to help attach it. We attached it to the original small building, and that tripled our size. We've used every space we can for classroom. We've even taken out some extra walls to make a 3rd classroom. So now we are eager to build a larger building.
I am so excited to hear that 2 acres of land has just been purchased to build a new Seventh-day Adventist school for the community of Nome.
The Nome Seventh-day Adventist Church has purchased ground for our school that will go right out this way toward that brown building. Then it will turn off and go down that way toward the flat ground. There'd be a section right on this all frontage that we have water and sewer already in. And the city of Icy View is going to build I say the city of Icy View, the village here, the section, the subdivision of Icy View, which is part of Nome, will be building a little city park right out here next to our grounds. So the school would have a nice little park.
We have volunteers to provide time and their skills to help build this. However, $200,000 is still needed to help finish this project.
Now this is my limo that gets me between Nome and Gamble and Savunga. You know, it's a jet prop. Isn't everybody gets to fly like that?
We're just getting ready to land here in Savunga, and we're on our way to my Savunga church, one of the two I have on St. Lawrence Island. It has 20 members, has a village of 500 people. Come along.
We're headed for church. This is the way we go to church. In Savunga.
We're on our way to my Savunga church, one of the two I have on St. Lawrence Island. Come along, and if you feel real young, you might like to go to church like this.
No place like the Arctic. Can you believe a 6-foot drift in front of my church door?
What we really need, though, is more of a presence. I'm only able to come out every other weekend and sometimes less than that. It'd be wonderful if we had someone, a retired couple, a student missionary, a task force worker who could stay right here in the village and give it that kind of support that would help it to grow. And we really need that kind of assistance.
We have this hope that burns within our hearts, hope in the coming of the Lord.
I'll introduce you to one of the senior members of my congregation here in Savunga. I'd like to introduce you to Kathy Nunwak. Kathy's 73 years old. She learned how to play the piano when she was 13. She was the first one in the village of Savunga to learn how to play the piano.
When I visited, I was scolded by my parents and my relatives why I did go there.
Kathy's uncle Nathan was one of the fine pioneers of the congregation here. He had tuberculosis when he was younger and went to Seattle, and it so happened that he had a Seventh-day Adventist doctor that treated him, and he learned about the Sabbath, and he came back and established a group of believers here in Savunga from which we are still growing.
We were walking toward Seventh-day Adventist Church, front of it, and the little girl asked her grandfather, "Grandpa, what's this church belong to?" The old man looked at the church and he said, "Those people are studying the second coming of Christ." It was right. We are studying the second coming of Christ.
It has improved a whole lot in the last few years. We're accepted very well here in the community. The people have come to appreciate Seventh-day Adventists. And folks, I think one of the things that we're struggling with here in the village is that I'm only able to come once every other weekend or so, and I need to be here a lot more often than that. We need a presence that is continual here in Savunga. We'd love to see a task force worker, a volunteer, even a retired couple that could come and spend a couple of years right here with the people in Savunga. We do have quite a nice little parsonage here in Savunga. We have repainted the whole inside. Come and I'll show you a little bit of the place. We have a kitchen here that's with running water now. We just got the running water and sewer. An adequate kitchen. It's supplied with dishes and a nice gas stove, refrigerator, microwave. Down the line here we have a bathroom on the right. Get some light on the subject here. And the bathroom has a shower. We've just put in a new mirrors and new appliances, a toilet and shower. Really quite adequate. The pantry off on the left. We have 2 bedrooms, one which we have with a twin bed in it, and we have another one here with a full-size bed. And closets, adequate closets in each. And there's lots of storage upstairs. When my Vacation Bible School kids come to help us with Vacation Bible School, we sleep a lot of them right upstairs. This has a pull-down stairway, And as you can see, it's nicely painted up there as well. So we're really quite comfortable here in our island home. Love to have some of you come and help us.
Our native work here in the Northwest has gone very well. Up here in Alaska, it's slowed a bit these last couple of years. We're in desperate need of personnel right now, but our churches are still intact. The churches where at least 50% of the membership are native.
Other than Nome, Gamble is the other most active church.
We're just very pleased of how things have gone, and we just want to see it go better, and we want to see it multiply, and it just takes good personnel, dedicated people to make it go, and that's what we're after.
Welcome to our Gamble Church. This little church is the farthest northern western church in the North American Division. Just over about 10 miles is the international date line where tomorrow is. Just 34 miles is Siberia, Providencia. Here is where we have a little group, about 50 members, very faithful people. Native people who have relatives and friends just across the ice here that they want to reach out to.
The secret up here has been the history with the Bristol Bay School, where the elders now had attended.
The Bristol Bay Mission School was self-supporting.
And they still talked about the fond memories of being there.
I remember way back when I was a young fellow. In Bristol Bay Mission School, we were taught of Sabbath keeping, Bible studies.
And that has been the foundation of the work in the Native community out on St. Lawrence Island.
This is where Operation Bear Hug started. This is where it had its inception through some of the lay folks here. Jerry Tungian was one who had a lot to do with that. He made trips over there to visit with these people, his relatives and all, and to introduce them to a God that loves them, a God that hears their prayers. Just this last month, Jerry passed away, but he left behind a legacy.
And it's sad to see this historic knowledge pass away. Fortunately, I've been given the opportunity to know a number of the elders out on St. Lawrence Island.
I've been a head deacon, but I'm the only deacon there is. This is a four-wheeler, all-terrain vehicle four-wheeler, 4x4 these days, because all four wheels are driving. That's almost the only way you can get around in the summer and winter sometimes. This is the best mode of transportation here in Gamble.
Fortunately, there is still continued work in Gamble and Savunga.
My name is Gerard Kaduka. We started our business in 1971, and here it is in 2001. We're still in business, and we're enjoying it. God loves them that obeys Him, and I took that into consideration and became an Adventist 30 years ago. I don't even have a 8th grade diploma, but my wife helped a lot. Our fathers and mothers were Adventists, but we kind of go straying a little, and like anything, like any other young people, we kind of like to go our own until the Adventist people came and talked to us. The conference president, Elder Joe Hansen, baptized me, and seeing that I was sincere and trusting the Lord, depending on Him, he and his two other friends said that they'll pledge $500 to establish an account with me from a grocer in Anchorage. And soon after that, we were firmly in business. Now I'm a born hunter, and we go out hunting with my cronies, with my pals out there, and they indicated that, Gerard, you are failing your responsibility as manhood. You are not one of us anymore. How are you going to feed your family? Friday evenings were closed. Saturday we're closed all day. And a lot of our relatives say that we're losing money there, but we know better because the Lord rested on the seventh day, and that's what He wanted us to do, and that's what we did. Well, 30 years later, here I am, and they come and shop in my store. And, the good Lord has been good to me. I faithfully go to church, pay my tithes, offering, and everything. The Lord has been good to us. The Lord has been exceptionally good to us.
Our local elders, Gerard and Clement, they do a pretty good job from the way I see, conducting Sabbath services and stuff like that. But we still would like to see a more full-time pastor here in Gamble. It was about 3 or 4 years ago that Maranatha International decided to come and help us do our church here in Gamble. They did a really nice job. They were old folks and they never get tired. Oh, I really admire them for their work. They just get together and do things that they need to be done. As a surprise, they built an apartment. Running water, as you can see, with a garbage disposal, you can hear hot and cold water, a refrigerator, and then propane stove, and a pantry. There's always something here just in case if somebody comes here, visitors, they have make sure that they have something to eat. They get weatherbound.
Listen to the weather forecast. It's like we're going to be stuck out here most of the day today. We got wind gusts up to 50 miles an hour with just very limited visibility about the length of a football field. So the winds just keep the planes from landing here. But this is where you learn to be patient. You've heard of the patience of the saints. That's what we have to experience right now. You can see all the conveniences of home. We have a wonderful living room, view out here towards the airport, a lovely bedroom here. It's just a lovely apartment for two, and you can see a little workspace here for computer, telephone, copier. You can see we got washer and dryer here, just uptown. And then here we have the bathroom, and we got running water now with all the conveniences of home, shower, you name it. Then for those who work here, we have our own little garage, if you please, with our own four-wheeler. That goes with the worker that's here. In the wintertime we have snowmobiles. So today we're looking for people to help us to continue this work out here. People who would be willing to come out and exhibit leadership with little nicer quarters, little nicer places to live, so that they could do the work of the Lord. So if you're interested, give us a call, let us know, and we'll work with you.
I'm Ken Reiswig. This is my wife Debbie and my daughter Brooke, and we're here to kind of give some information about Camp Polaris and what we have as a vision for the future of the camp. In the past, it's been run just by the Dillingham and Electingig churches.
Camp Polaris is the most exciting ministry I have ever been involved in because of the potential.
Camp Polaris is in a perfect spot for, as far as location goes, that Dillingham is the central area for Bristol Bay. There's 5 main villages that if they travel anywhere, they come through Dillingham.
I've worked at camps for the last 6 years, and I'm going to work there this summer as well. I've been kitchen staff, head cook, craft director, and this year I'm planning to be a counselor. I really enjoy working with the kids.
This year we've coupled with a conference to provide the director and staffing, which I think is going to be a real big plus. The ideas that we've had for this camp is to build a fishing and hunting lodge. I guess it's been done by OCI in Africa with a safari lodge, where they use that income to help support the camp. And the same idea I think would work here. There are a number of lodges on the lake operating successfully, and we could do the same thing and use the facility during the times when it wasn't being used for the kids and the Camp Polaris aspect particularly, and provide income to help with the expenses of the camp and see it expand and grow.
I met Christ at summer camp. I had never heard his name used. outside of Cursing before, and it was at camp that my life changed for Christ, which is why I carry a great burden for the children to come to camp, because I know that lives can be changed there. I came from a home very similar to the homes here. They may have no other opportunity to know Christ.
In the last year or two, we've seen a need to join with a conference, which we've done this year.
Our facilities we need to start over.
The camp is, in that 45 years that I know about, the buildings have deteriorated since they were first built. Many of them were old cannery buildings that were moved into place that were pretty much worn out when they got there.
What Camp Polaris really needs is to step forward in faith and develop a building committee so that we can get together, look at the property, get a master plan together, and actually get down on paper what needs to happen.
So that we can change the lives of the Yupik Eskimo kids in Bush, Alaska.
Basically, I'm based here in Barrow, and my family roots come back from the whaling over in Wales up here on the North Slope, and my last name Stein actually comes from a whaling captain from the east. He captained a ship, and he was actually a white man, and his name was also Christian Stein, which I'm named after. The whaling, which still goes on today, and in the springtime we still use a traditional skin boat to go after the whale with stealth. Ken and Carol Robbins, we first ran across them when we had our one camp meeting, and that's where we started our fellowship after that. So this ministry, you know, even though it's small, we try to follow up on any newcomers. It's a great fellowship group that we have.
Hi, I'm Doug Allison, caretaker of junior camp on Camp Lorraine. We're on our way out there right now, but we stopped to look at the rookery of sea lions. Out at Camp Lorraine, there's a lot of things I do. I maintain the buildings, keep the grounds in order, and just make sure that the campers just have a good time.
Camp Lorraine is my favorite place. I was the only kid from Juneau last year, and now this year I've recruited 8 kids.
We're going to be there in just a few minutes, so come and join us. Yeah, when I round this corner up here, I feel like I'm going into a church. It's just special out here. One of our needs here is for a walkway that goes between the shore and the dock. We got the girls' cabins to the right, generator shed, caretaker's house. We have a little swimming pool, the boys and girls bathrooms, the woodshed, the lodge, the gymnasium, multi-purpose building, and then the boys' cabins. These cabins were built out of old wood from a dock that collapsed in town 35 years ago. And now we've got rotting wood in the main support beams, and we've got rotting floors. So it's a real hazard for our campers. So we're looking at replacing this cabin this year, and we're hoping to replace at least 2 cabins next year and try to stay on top of this rotting wood before it gets to a point of being dangerous for our campers. I've been here as a caretaker for 3 years. This is our swimming pool here. Right now there's a layer of ice on it, but in the summertime it still feels like there's a layer of ice. It's just cold water all the time. So we put these snorkel stoves in and we fire them up, and in about 3 days we have warm water in here, and the kids just love swimming in here. This is the girls' bathroom, and whoa! We're in the process of replacing the floor in here, and you can see why. There's a big hole in the floor. Oh, if you like it rustic, Camp Lorraine is your place. Well, let's go inside and look at the lodge. I haven't been upstairs since this fall, so I'm not sure what I'm going to find up here. Well, here's the reason we need a new roof. There's more water. This roof leaks pretty bad. And the floors are starting to rot. So first thing we need to do is stop the leaking and then start fixing the damage. Well, this here is where we eat. This is the center of activity here during the day. Kids just love sitting by the fire, and we have meetings in here. We eat in here. The kitchen's in the back there. So this is the center of activity. Over here there's some more rot, and this just breaks my heart. This is the lodge, the roof on the back of the lodge, and it's just covered with moss and little trees are growing. It needs to be replaced. Again, it's 35 years old and is built out of hand split cedar, but it's time for it to be replaced, so I need to replace it. This is going to cost $4,000 just for the roofing material, and hopefully we'll have donated volunteer labor to put it on. Give us a call and see how we're doing. We'll definitely have to replace it next summer if we don't get it replaced this year. We're on our way to the boys' cabins right now. Oh, we're on the boys' side of the campus now. There's 4 boy cabins. They're very similar to the girls' cabins. Oh, except we have one that's broken down. Every penny to run this camp is from local contributions, from donations and renting of the camp. The conference doesn't send us any monies, with the exception of junior camp. And $6,000 to replace the building might as well be $1 million. This is a real mission field. About a third of the kids sign paper saying they want baptism, study with their pastor, Bible studies. 6,000's, not much at all, but for a small community that's been supporting this for 35 years, it's just too much. I had to fight tooth and toenail just to borrow half of that cabin over there. It just helps build faith. When you're a month away from your busy season, it gets scary at times. But there's no place like camp when there's kids running around. One of their favorite activities is playing tetherball, sitting on the logs. This is my drinking water. Oh, it's not impossible. The Lord loves projects like this.
Bethel's the second place I said I'd never live in. The first place was Nome. We had been in Nome and helped build a church there and a church school, and so we had an idea, what kind of work was involved in leading out. And rather than see a church closed, we said, okay, we'd do it.
We're in Bethel, Alaska, and the church here is very small, but the need is great. The hospital that I work at needs doctors and nurses and radiologists.
Ultrasound techs, x-ray techs, different type of providers, anesthesiologists.
You can put the state of Wyoming in our service area. I've been here 6.5 years. When I first got here, I drove school bus for 6 months because they didn't have a respiratory department. Working full-time at the hospital and trying to keep the church going and the maintenance and stuff, I told Louise, I said, we're getting tired, So So I called the conference and asked them to find somebody else.
Swanson's Polaris is done. It was always a dream that I could be a pastor, but because of my education and different things in my life, I think this would never happen to me. I mean, there's absolutely no reason, no rhyme or reason why I could become a pastor or anything like that.
We were praying for a new leader, for 2 years, but when the first family couldn't come, we continued to pray, and Don and Nita were able to come out. So their answer to prayer for us, well, they took the next step again and started Bible studies.
I just wanted to introduce again Angie and Albert, members of the Bethel Seventh-day Adventist Church, and I just really appreciate very much her love for the Lord. I'm the service manager here at the Swanson's Polaris shop, and I'm also the lay pastor at the church here in Bethel, and we've seen our congregation grow from about 8 to over 30 now.
I've been in Bethel 5 months, and I started coming to this church the very week I came here.
One of the keys in keeping new members involved is after they're there just for a short while, it just takes a little bit of time to realize what they're good at, figuring out what their talents are, and then give them something to do that goes along with their talents.
Getting so excited with the little kids, and I love the potlucks every Saturday.
Potluck is probably our #1 draw. Get them there to feed them and just be friends with them. If they're a good cook, then you put them in the kitchen. And if they're good at other things, you have to figure out what they're good at. There are many similarities in, for instance, an engine in a church. The inspiration I got thinking that I could do something like this was because of Lynn Tatum, who dropped what he was doing in the lumber business and came to Alaska and started a ministry and started out from scratch, kind of like what I'm doing right now, and ended up being a full-time pastor now in California. So he's definitely been my inspiration, and there's others like Don Felkley, and that gave me the opportunity to think that this could actually take place.
Early in our evangelistic series there in Africa, I asked the pastors, where do you have your baptism? And they said, well, we have them all right here in Lake Victoria. But they said, we have a problem. And they described to me the nature of it, which was water hyacinths had overgrown the bay, and there was just no possible way. So we made it a matter of prayer, and the day before the baptism was scheduled, God blew a wind in Homa Bay and broke up the water hyacinths, sent them a half a mile out into the lake, and opened up Homa Bay with clear water for our baptism. This is before, and this is after. That was probably the best miracle God did for us in those meetings. This is before, and this is after. One of our team members has made a list of miracles that God did. It's good for our church, it's good for those that go, the kind of experience that they get in this kind of evangelistic meeting. Now she went on to say, maybe you don't want to go halfway around the world every time, but what about our own mission field right here in the state of Alaska? And she began to direct my attention towards Bush, Alaska, and talking about how maybe we could adopt a city or not a city, a village in Bush, Alaska, and do an evangelistic effort right there among our own native Alaskans. And as she began to share that, my vision for our own local conference evangelism was broadened. It'll be different than going to India or Africa. I love adventure. I love evangelism.
I know, my dear friends, that we have a baptism on tomorrow, and there's still somebody who's still in the valid decision whether they should obey Jesus. And this book alone has changed folks' lives for the better. And if you be honest with yourself, you are not the same as a result of this book.
One of my major flaws is that I was gay, and then I just thought, well, God can't love a gay person. Well, that's not true. God loves anybody. And if you let God work throughout your life, He can make a gay person straight. He can make a drunk stop drinking. He can make a smoker stop smoking. Christ can do anything.
Gives us great joy to baptize you in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost. Amen? Amen. Give me that old-time religion. Give me that old-time religion. Give me that old-time religion. Lord, it's good enough. And go light your
Okay, turn around slowly, whistling.